Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today you're getting our first impressions from the new albums from Abigail Williams, Slaughter to Prevail, and Scars on Broadway. So I say Scars on Broadway because I will never call it Darren Malakian and Scars on Broadway. I think that's ridiculous. Anyways, interesting day here because we got two bands that are already on the two toe tags list.
That's
and
true.
One band that we've never covered before.
That's also true.
Abigail Williams being the band we've never covered before. I don't know a lot about this band. I've listened to them before. I've checked them out. I've tried to get into them, but they kind of, I think they went on a hiatus for a while because I don't think they put anything out for a while. And then, then they announced this album and people kind of got their ears perked up and went, oh, Abigail Williams is coming back. So I got hyped just from that. Yes, a new album to check out. I always like diving into a new album from a band when I'm trying to check out a band. So, A Void Within Existence is the album's title, and I thought it was pretty good. I generally enjoyed it. It's black metal for better or worse, and you get what you expect from a band and an album like this. I think there's a little bit more nuance on this though. I think there's a little bit more of like a death metal vibe in there, like some riffs, some of the sections maybe was giving me more of a death metal vibe. And this could be a me thing, but I see black metal as being a very kind of Scandinavian type of metal, right? It kind of started in Norway. It's, kind of in that part of the world, that's where the meat of black metal is. And I think this sounds like that, but I think being an American band, I think Abigail Williams is an American band. I think they have a little bit of more of that death metal influence in their music. And I think that's what I'm hearing shining through, which I think is really cool. So as I'm listening to this album, I'm just hearing like little things pop out here and there. It's mostly these cool little riffs here and there, these cool little drum patterns. The first song is a really good example of this. It's called Life Disconnected. And I paused there because there's a comma. And there's just some cool little riffs there. I'm like, this sounds like a death metal riff. That's really cool that it's incorporated into like a black metal song. And these little drum patterns that are happening and these cool little drum parts. It's just a lot of cool stuff going on and making it a really nice cohesive piece. As the album goes on, there's different factors in play. You get to songs like Still Nights, and it's really high energy. It sounds kind of frantic. And you have the vocalist who has a kind of a worrisome kind of vibe to his voice. And I felt like that fit the frantic nature of the song, where it kind of felt like, oh my God, something's coming. Oh my God, something bad's gonna happen. And I like when music really puts kind of an emotion into my head. I feel like that means they wrote a really good song and they executed it very well. The next song right after that is a high contrast because it's a lot more reserved. This song's called Talk to Your Sleep, by the way. A lot more reserved, laid back, but in a way sounded just as alarming. And I just kind of got the sense of an imminent threat, right? It doesn't always have to be like, oh no, sirens blaring. Sometimes it's like, oh no, what the heck is coming, right? And I feel like those two songs back to back kind of executed the same emotion, but doing it in two different ways, which I thought was really, really cool. Really cool guitaring. It just had a really slow brooding slow burn feel to it, which I thought was cool. Going further a little bit more, the last song had like shoegaze stuff in it. So I'm like, okay, they're doing this now. That's kind of cool. Point being, a lot of black metal albums kind of just do one thing and they kind of do that thing throughout the whole album. I felt like this was quite diverse for a black metal album, and that actually pleased me a lot. So good job, Abigail Williams. I thought that this was a good first impression for me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said. This was my first time actually listening to the band. I had heard of them many times, but never actually checked them out until now. And I realized that the main, basically artist within this band, I think the only current member, full, member is Ken Sorceron. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is his band? Because he was on In Becoming a Ghost by The Faceless. And he was also in Veil of Nath, who dropped an album last year, which was actually a pretty strong album as well. So I didn't realize that until today. Like, oh wow, this is his band. That's awesome. Now, I agree with you about the death metal comment, and I feel like just as immediately when the album starts, I got that impression. Like as soon as it started, like, okay, opens up, kind of no nonsense. A lot of death metal albums do that, just bam, right out the gate. And it took a while for the vocals to start. And I like that, and here's why. I think this album does a really good job at using the vocals in a way that makes them feel like another instrument. Because usually, you know, in most music that have vocal performances, it's kind of in the forefront. It is one of the main driving things. It's going to drive your main melody. It is kind of the focus. It feels like here, it's kind of few and far between. There's so many vamp sections, parts where the band is just jamming, and that goes for a while throughout different songs. And I think that's really cool, and it makes you appreciate the vocals even more when they do show up. And it creates a really cool sense of balance throughout every piece of this band for this record. I thought that was really, really, really cool. And the ending of Life Disconnected has a sick guitar solo, but a lot of these songs have a sick guitar solo in them. I wrote that note a few times, like, oh, fuck this guitar solo. Now this one. Now this one.
Like they're topping each other every time.
They are. Like, it's A-game guitar solos on this record. I really think so. And I love that the last song does this thing that I always love, where guitar's just going nuts, and he just keeps going, and they vamp, and it fades out. And it's a slow fade out. It's like a 9-minute track. That end section does that. Loved it.
Yeah.
Super duper duper cool. And it's funny because a song like Non-Existence has a beautiful guitar solo at the end, and I was like just hoping, like, I want them to vamp on this for longer. It's amazing, but like, can I have more? So it's kind of cool that I did get more in a different track.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of album that I feel like you listen to it and it's easy for things to kind of go by, but I feel like, you know, obviously the way that we, you know, like to look at albums and consider them and all that kind of stuff is to listen to them multiple times. And I think this album is a perfect example of, like, there's got to be something in there. And I can even tell as I'm listening to it, there's probably so many details that I'm going to find if I were to go back and look under the microscope. Like, I could sense it with this record, you know?
Yeah.
There's that arpeggio that was going on before the solo in Talk to Your Sleep, by the way. That was really cool. And then just that solo in general was just another great one. So, as basically a first impression of the band, very high. Like, I thought this was a great record.
Cool.
I was very impressed. And I think it's cool that it stands out from most black metal albums. Because, you know, black metal is one of the genres that I feel like has a bit of oversaturation in the sense of, like, a lot of stuff is like the same kind of stuff you expect. This one stands out. I definitely think this has stuff that black metal fans are gonna love, of course, but it's got more than that, and I think that's really, really cool. So I liked it quite a bit.
Okay, moving on, let's talk about Addicted to the Violence by Scars on Broadway. So, yeah, this band is already on the Toe Tags list with Dictator, and that's a fantastic album, we both agree. And so we're hyped, obviously, for this one. We reacted to Killing Spree, which was the first single video they dropped, and we were both kind of like, not sure about it. I kind of blame that as being a mood thing, because this is a different band. Like, this band kind of stands out on their own, and there's not really a lot of bands that sound like this in the grand scheme of things. So when you hear a Scars on Broadway song, you're kind of like, it almost feels like you're entering a different world for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I blamed it on. Listening to it on the album, I thought it was a lot better. I thought it fit, obviously, the album a lot better, because now I'm in Scars on Broadway mood. And I can appreciate it a lot more when I'm in that zone, that headspace. So the album was basically what I expected. It's got good guitaring, good riffs, good, nice, clean vocals, catchy lyrics and choruses. It's just that kind of full package that this band brings to the table. But it didn't quite hit the mark like the last album did. And it's, you know, remains to be seen why that is. Maybe it's just because I only listened to it a couple times, or maybe it's because I just wasn't really in the mood for it. But a couple of my takeaways were, I got notes for a few songs here. So I'll start with the last song, which is the title track, Addicted to Violence. I thought this was a really boring song. I thought it was a really bad idea for a closer, because I felt like, oh, you look like you're gonna have a thought about it. Maybe he's disagreeing, but I feel like this is a decent song, but I feel like it should have been somewhere in the mid-album, because it felt like this is not the kind of song I want to look forward to listening to. It's cool to have a break in the middle of the album and then look forward to something better later on, but to have this be the last song of the album, I can't believe I just said ass song. Maybe that fits. Maybe it was a subconscious comment. Anyways, I felt like it was a bad closer. Let me just cap it at that. Done Me Wrong, which is track number 3. I like this song. This is the song that has that nice bounce energy. kind of just pulled from System of a Down for obvious reasons. I really dig the tom groove in the chorus that they do. And just, I had fun with this song. I thought it was a standout track. Satan Hussein, which is track number 2, has some wild lyrics. I don't like your kids, you spread your stupid jizz, I take your daughter and put her in the porno biz. That's a fucking wild lyric right there. I mean, and that's just one lyric of the song, and he says it a couple times.
I mean, Darren Malakian's got like
it's Darren
20 years of writing that.
Yeah.
That exact kind of stuff. Like,
exactly, but you know what? It's never not surprising or never not shocking still when you hear it and you go, he came up with this, he wrote it down, and he fucking put it on the album. Like, he did it.
He's like, yep,
and that's
right.
what it is. Yeah, exactly. And then there's another song, it might be that song or maybe another song, I can't remember, where he's just like saying a bunch of words, but I feel like he's just interjecting different drugs into there. Like, I don't know, I was trying to pay attention, but I'm like, what's this? And I hear him say like Percocet or something like that, and then he says this and says this, and then says some other drug or something. I don't know. I didn't write that part down, but it's Darren being Darren. And you know, it's a fun album. Like I said, it's got good riffs, the melodies are good, it's kind of catchy. And yeah, it's a fun album, but I didn't love it. It didn't grab me like Dictator did, and I was kind of hoping it would. So it's a little bit disappointing in that aspect of it, but still a solid album through and through.
Well, I guess I'll start my thoughts by talking about the title track because of the faces that were made upon Vile Selves comes for that track. I didn't write any notes for it specifically, but I think it's the kind of song where basically when you're closing an album, you can kind of do it one of two ways. I mean, one of three ways. You either want to go out with a bang and have this crazy explosive, bam, there it is. Think like My Apocalypse from Death Magnetic.
Yeah, okay.
Or you'd want to go out with something somber, soft, like kind of just laying it down, kind of the ending, which is what this album does, like something chill and soft.
Yeah.
Or you would do like kind of a big grand epic, like what, you know, the recent Hailstorm album. That's a good example, right?
Yeah.
So this album does it, you know, in a soft, kind of sad, chill way. I didn't mind the song. In fact, I liked it. Oh, it's a cool, chill song. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a bit long for what it is, but I didn't mind that. But I can understand, you know, especially with a band like this and a sound like this, you kind of come in thinking, I want the crazy stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like that.
Wild stuff, yeah.
So like Killing Spree felt like the middle of the pack kind of thing. So I didn't hate the song listening to it again. You know, even though both of us were kind of just like, on our reaction to that song. But it's not mind-blowing, but it's like fine. But then Satan Hussein is when the album starts to sound like more like what I wanted from it. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot more energy, a lot more wacky, goofy, like what the fuck did he just say kind of stuff. Done Me Wrong I also liked quite a bit, and that one to me sounded a lot more System-like than others, even though it all is basically kind of that.
Yeah, it's like System's little sister or something.
Sister of a Down.
Sister of a Down. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention about Done Me Wrong, the ride and hi-hat stuff that the drummer's doing in the bridge is really, really cool. The keyboard solo is awesome.
I like that too, yeah.
Really, really like that. One thing I was kind of hoping for was hearing Darren scream. I think the ferocity, because he's done it,
yep.
the ferocity and the bite from that, I think would really juice some of these tracks up. I don't really think he did it so much even on the last record, but in a sense, some of the music would compensate for that. Like you look at a song like Guns Are Loaded, when that drop happens, it hits like a hammer.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I was hoping for more moments like that. And I think something like that is why you, and also myself, prefer Dictator, because it feels like there are more super standout iconic moments. That being said, not only was Dictator a long time ago, we also checked that album out for an entire week before forming our final thoughts. This is just the first day of checking out this album.
That's right.
But I do think it's good. It's a solid album. Like it's good, and it gives you what you generally expect. Don't think it's as good as Dictator, but on further listens, that could change. But overall, it is good.
Cool. So last but not least for the day is Grizzly by Slaughter to Prevail. Costalum is on the Toe Tags list.
Yep. It was my number one
yes,
of that year.
Fantastic album. So based on that alone, we're hyped for anything this band puts out. And they put out a lot of singles for this album, which kind of pisses us off. We don't necessarily like when bands kind of blow their load before the album drops.
So 7 out of 13 of the tracks are released as singles.
Which I think in their defense is not blowing their load. Some bands kind of do like 7 out of 10 tracks, and it's like it really ruins it. But this wasn't that bad. And the thing with me was I didn't listen to the singles that much. I maybe played them a couple times, other than The Hellet, which was on my track of the year list for 2024, and I played that song quite a lot because it's fucking awesome. Like, that song
Still is.
still probably the top song on the album, at least for me at this point. Just to make a comment about it, just really love the melodic nature of the chorus. The chorus really sells this song, really puts a stamp on it as far as its individuality goes and its creative nature. And it really has a kind of a Rammstein stamp on it, which other people have mentioned too with the synth. And just to piggyback off that comment, I think a lot of songs on this album were influenced by Rammstein. There's a lot of very Rammstein-y type of stuff going on. You look at songs like track number 4, I'm gonna pronounce words wrong because they're all in Russian or whatever. Babaika. Just the chorus of this one really had a Rammstein vibe to me. Track number 6, Koschai. Again, another very Rammstein type of feel. And Rodina, track number 10, very Rammstein feel on this one. This is a slower song. It's kind of like, Rammstein likes to do a ballad on every album sort of thing.
Yeah.
This kind of felt like their version of that, where it's kind of, that slow kind of thing.
That song in particular reminded me of Motor a lot.
It reminded me of Motor too.
Specifically that song.
Exactly, and I agree with that, but it wasn't just Motor. I was getting other songs in there too, like Sonna,
Yeah.
right? That kind of thing. And Rodina, I looked up, it translates to family in Slovak, and it also translates to motherland in Russian. So it has a double translation.
Which is also the kind of thing Rammstein would do.
Exactly.
Like a lot of the wordplay with the translation stuff.
That's very true, and they do that. So I felt like this is a really good song, especially for a song that's on the slower side for a heavier band. And it's not all slow. The song does pick up and get heavier, but it never gets to the super aggressive level like other songs do. It kind of rides maybe like a medium kind of level there. Another cool thing about this song, it had a really wild and weird harmonic that happened before the solo, and I'm not gonna try to make it with my mouth or whatever, but it was like it drew my attention to it immediately. I went, whoa, what's that? I kind of rewound it for a second, listened to it again. I was like, that was kind of fucking cool, whatever it was. But it was just a unique harmonic with the guitar. Other than that, this is Slaughter Prevail doing what Slaughter Prevail does. They're just really good at deathcore, but they're also really good at incorporating and interjecting other things in there. Most notably, nu metal type of stuff.
Yeah.
I've made comments about this before many times when covering STP. I hear Slipknot riffs in this band all the time. And an example of that is I'm Dead, which is also weird because it's one word, featuring Ronnie Radke from, fancy from again? Ronnie Radke. Falling in Reverse. Drew a blank for a second. But yeah, there's a part where like after Ronnie's part, it goes into like a double bass section, and I'm like, these are Slipknot riffs right here. Like, this is just, you can tell. Another cool thing about that song, the intro to me sounded a lot like Loco by Coal Chamber, which if you know that song and you grew up with that, it'll probably click right away and you'll go, holy crap, this sounds like Loco. What else do I got here?
I mean, you mentioned Slipknot. They do literally reference Slipknot in Russian Grizzly in America. Like, they lift a part of Sick. Like, the lyrics even. They do.
Straight up says it. We mentioned that in our reaction when we did it too.
Yeah.
Another song we reacted to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like I thought at first it was like, okay, just the rhythm, and like, okay, yeah, he's just doing that. And then I looked into it, which like literally the lyrics were lifted. He says like exactly the lyrics as a reference, which is really cool.
Another song that we reacted to that I'm kind of iffy about is song 3 featuring Baby Metal. I think it's a good song. I think it's a cool feature. I just don't think it's as strong as the other songs on the album. But I think it's an interesting feature to have Alex Terrible, who's like just mean and ferocious, and then Baby Metal on the same track. And they make it work though.
Yeah.
And it sounds good. The video was fun. But
weirdly enough though, that song is on both albums.
I think that's cool.
Like it's on this album and it's on the upcoming Baby Metal album.
I think it's cool. And the thing is, it's more of a collab than it is a feature.
Yeah.
Right? Which is something that's always cool to see, because I see a feature as in like, you bring a person on to do like a verse, right? Or you bring a person on to help with the chorus, but that's all they really do. On this, it's a little bit more back and forth. They kind of split verses and choruses, and it's just a shared song more in that sense. I'm going to pass it forward to you, but overall, my thoughts were pretty strong on this. I thought it was good. I feel like it was maybe missing something. I'm not sure. I didn't feel as strongly about this as I did with Kostelum. My similar thoughts to Scars on Broadway, where I felt stronger about the previous album. But still, good album. Enjoyed it from beginning to end, and it's good stuff.
Well, I guess I'll start where you started with Behelit. The breakdown in that song is really, really cool. And I remember when I heard it for the first time, we reacted to it. I'm like, wait, what are they doing here exactly? And I figured it out. I think I figured it out at one point, forgot about it. And then when I heard it again, I'm like, what is it? And then I figured it out again. So they're playing basically in triple time, but there's a point where they'll play a duple figure, which totally sounds like they went somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But if you keep counting in that triple figure, it lines up. Okay. So I think it's really cool that they kind of mess with it metrically, even though they're still on the same grid. It lines up as long as you keep counting that way.
It's always cool when bands do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that, along with just that song as a whole, being one of the very, Rammstein sounding songs, is a really good example of this band's creativity. And I think the last record, obviously, is how they blew up. Mm-hmm. Like, they super duper exploded with that record, big name now. And, that was a record where a lot of people started seeing more new core. And I think this band is the deathcore side of it, because there's bands that are more new metal with deathcore influences. This one is deathcore with new metal influences. Yeah. So it's cool to see that they're now pulling from Rammstein for multiple things here. Yeah. And it's clear you can see that influence. And this band, because they blew up with the last record and Demolisher was like the main one that they blew up from, they could have just basically made Demolisher over and over if they wanted and still be huge, still blow up. They could have done that,
but they didn't.
I love that they didn't. Yeah. Because stuff like the fact that they didn't do that, the fact that you can hear more and different influences and references and homages
I respect that a lot.
And ideas is respectable, and you can just like that kind of thing shows the passion that this band has in making music. Mm-hmm. And when you're passionate about making your art, it's so easy to see and to feel, and that goes across any kind of art form. Yeah. So, in this context with this album, you can tell that Slaughter to Prevail loves doing what they do. They love the bands that they love, and they love incorporating aspects of their sounds into their own ideas, and I think that's amazing. So it's awesome that Grizzly feels like its own album. It doesn't feel like Kostelum 2.
That's true.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Am I a fan of the fact that 7 out of 13 tracks are already released? No, but whatever, I guess, because I still like those songs, especially Ballad. That's a sick song. Love that one.
Yeah.
So, I guess to comment on some non-singles, I think that Bandidos, which is the first track, I like that it wastes no time. It basically says, yeah, we're still Slaughter to Prevail. Here we go.
Yeah.
I do think that the Spanish singing part should have been the ending.
I thought it was the ending, and all of a sudden the song came back
and then,
on again.
Yeah, it came back. I kind of thought that was weird. I think that really should have been the ending there.
Yeah.
I love that they got the old school deathcore style of snare mixing. They'll let Evgeny's snare drum just ring out.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Super duper cool. One thing I'll mention about Russian Grizzly in America, the growls that were happening at the end kind of got me laughing. And I know, we've had comments about vocal Olympics here and there, and there have been some cases where we're kind of rolling our eyes, but
sometimes it's cringy, yeah.
Honestly, but in this case, I thought it was kind of funny, so I liked that, because I think with this band, they're not afraid to be fun and silly with the music as well, especially with these music videos, especially that one in particular. Yeah. That was a ridiculous music video.
Yeah.
So I really like that, this band has that as well. They have some comedy in it too. Mm-hmm. So I think that just generally, they push themselves creatively, and I really, really like that. I think they develop themselves, and I think, maybe even releasing that many singles kind of still kept them, I guess, I don't want to say relevant, because that's not really the right term, but I guess active in a sense. Because it took a while from the last records. They probably wanted the people not to forget and be like, hey, we're still making stuff, and bam, here's the album.
Yeah.
But I liked it quite a bit, and I do think that their passion is definitely visible with this record.
Yeah, anyways, guys, we discussed it and we liked all three of these albums, but we decided that we're going to review Grizzly by Slaughter to Prevail. So we're just going to get another chance to get on the list, even though it's already on there. And I think it's going to be a good week. I feel like this album's going to, be enjoyable to listen to, and I'm looking forward to it. But for now, leave your thoughts down below and let us know if you guys thought of these three releases or any other releases that might have dropped today. You can let us know down below what you thought of those. And subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Keep those heads banging.